In January, we talked about how I would rehab the Metro and the Circonius lines of Madrid. But by the time I ended over there, my own native Septa announced its own plans to help overhaul its own regional rail. Finally, I'm going to give my own little thoughts on it and drop some of my thoughts of my own. For those who are unfamiliar, first scenario involved making all-day service 30 minutes with express being added in during the peak time morning and evening rush. So not much change to the current network except getting extra train in every hour, except for the Kingwood line would probably still run peak only. So no real change. Vision 2 was Metro frequency, where the Thorndale line to Radnor, the Wilmington line only in Pennsylvania, plus the airport line, Media, Norristown, Chestnut Hill East, and the Corp to Glenside would have new trains. I think the Overground used them, and I think Madrid used them as the Sevillas class. That's all 15-minute frequency, with Kingwood being hourly, and it looks like possibly being terminated to 30th Street and going to the lower decks. And it's 30th to Cromwell's Heights and Lansdale, and then hourly to Trenton, West Trenton, Warminster, Doylestown, Chestnut Hill West to Jersey and beyond. Kind of a little weird, like, why not, like, Ardmore or Paley, which is the original, like, terminus of that line. I would like it to terminate there instead of Radnor. I think kind of a little unfair that one branch gets 15 minutes frequency, the other one is hourly. Like, I'd rather just make those both 30 minutes and give Fox Chase 15 minutes and extend it up to Beth Air, so it's fine that West Trenton is still hourly. I was looking at maps, and Newton's fairly close to Langhorne. Like, I'd be fine if it was never extended back to Newton. But having two trains to Beth Airs could make sense, especially with this scenario where I have one that's in 15 minutes and the other one is hourly, and have a lot of bus connections that fit with that as like kind of extensions of that 15-minute Silverliner service. And it also says peak only regional rail service within everything that's served partially into the core. This was definitely not my favorite. Version 3, which combines Amtrak service, airport lines 15 minutes, that really should be boosted to 15 minutes in my opinion. And then Lynch is going to Wayne Junction, Norristown for 15 minutes on that, but like one of my big ideas is to move the Pennsylvania through Reading onto the Norristown line. If Amtrak really wants service to Reading, it would also help free up some space on the Paoli-Thorndale line. Also, the Kingwood line we boosted every 30 minutes on this one, which is weird. Also, like City Line is on here, kind of interesting. Again, Doylestown is still dock to 60 minutes, but it was like a branch where it goes one way every hour, the other way half an hour. Like at least thinking of Quakertown, that would make a bit more sense. Where Norristown, we do the Pennsylvania, it's only one train each direction every day, so it probably would be they can keep it 30 minutes and not 15. And I did have an idea for a new station called Callow Hill, like in Madrid, where between the Huevos Ministerios and Atocha, there's a split. There's the original Recoltes tunnel that 5 of the lines use. There's a newer tunnel built through Seoul. We don't like extend the Kingwood line back over like Manayunk. Is that you could use the Callow Hill station used as a terminus for Amtrak services going up Lansdale line, hopefully up to Allentown and into the Lehigh Valley. Take the break at Reading, go to Philly, probably still take a break, and then go to New York. But for that section, I said Hershey, Lebanon, Reading, Birdsboro, Saratoga, Pottstown, Phoenixville, King of Prussia, Norristown, TC. It was Hicken. It has to go through. I think there is a link going inbound between the Norristown line and the Trenton line that's good for that way, and then it can back out again. But it's not good to turn up to North Philadelphia, which was kind of intended for service like that to New York. Guessing all here's like me. I don't know if they could fit a third tunnel, but I think the idea is that you would split suburban in half, so half of the tracks would continue to Jefferson as usually, the other half would continue to Callow Hill, the Northeast Corridor. Yeah, that's kind of makes sense to keep those hourly, except out of side rush hour. Also for Pelly Thorndale line service would be cut back to Malvern, with all stations beyond that only getting Amtrak service, with Wayne, Radnor, and Bryn Mawr being added. And so legally can continue service as far as Parksville and turn around Lancaster, but I think Gap is on the way. There's like a little curve there. Like, it would be nice to like have, or it could go to Gap and then. But I think right now they only plan as far as going as Coatesville once a new station is built. Chester would actually be added to, Chester and Marksville could be added to Warrington, those are kind of short branches, but this is kind of more my favorite. Willington line, Septa, you only go to Willington. They'll get your own rail system that goes through street on the Amtrak level. Go Penn Med, Chester, Willington. Then you have the Northeast Course, which will continue to Perryville, Maryland, with new stops in Newport, Delaware, as well as Elkton, Northeast Maryland. All the rest of the stations from Septa that they use now would be retained for that service. And then interstate would be Collins Park, Newcastle, Polsky Highway, Kirkwood, Joy Run, Mount Pleasant, Middleton, Messini, Clayton, Wellington University, Dover. I've thought of renaming West End Ewen or Mercer Airport, but like Spirit is the only one that uses that airport for passenger service. Mercer Line or Sutherland Valley branch of the Raritan Valley Line. If a lot of low-cost airlines start migrating there, then yeah, it might be nice either rename Mercer Airport or do a Trenton subway from Trenton TC all the way to the airport, connecting both regional rail stations. I think there are a few more stations between Wawa and Westchester back in the day, but I said, obviously we rebuild Westchester. Oakbourne, there's a new university. I think there was a shop called Shanley back in the day, but this would be better to serve the university, be named after it. Loxley and Glen Mills. I believe there's like a tourist road that uses that right now. And there are definitely more plans in the works that they could at least do like a battery shuttle from Wawa to Westchester. And if that gains traction, then do the same for Norristown to Reading. And going back to like the Pennsylvania, basically doing that could revive local service to Reading, which has been a whole objective for many years. Like, you just do deal service to Norristown as like a compromise in the short term. The long term would be Schuylkill Valley Metro, is that back in the day they're planning on extending the Kingwood line back over to Ivy Bridge. One branch would connect to KOP rail at the mall. There is a station across from the plaza behind Motel 6. And you would have service continuing on to Reading as well. I think with KOP rail, I don't think we'll get regional rail service back to pressure, although you do have track near where that branch ends by the casino. And I was saying you could put a train station, like, since that would be right by Valley Forge Park, but that would only be used by Amtrak, unless my mind thought there's like, you either use a Kinwine for that, or since there's already kind of two branches for the 15 in the east, you could just make a second branch in the west off the Kinwood line, because it doesn't have a lot of ridership. And you could always rebuild the 2nd Street station, so mostly people from the Keystone line could transfer to trolleys to get to the zoo. That does segue into my thoughts for next time. What would a Kinwood line branch for the new G line look like with the Septa Metro? And how far I think the Roosevelt Boulevard subway might basically go. So until then, comment, subscribe, and strike the bell.